What's up, Healthy Fam? My name is Grace Shockey, and I am super excited that you are here because I'm going to be helping you get healthy for good. Today it is through the means of sweet potato gnocchi. This is a 3-ingredient, plant-based recipe that anyone can make, no talent required. I got your back. I'm going to take you to the grocery store, show you what to buy. We're gonna make it together in the kitchen, and then we're gonna eat some gnocchi. It's gonna be delicious. All right, let's go.
So I actually got this recipe from another Nashville native named Britta Britnell, and she has this really cool vegan food blog called Food with Feeling, and she was kind enough to let me use her recipe and feature her blog on here, so I'll be linking that down in the description below. But the first thing that Britta talked about was grabbing 2 medium-sized sweet potatoes, and I actually used white sweet potatoes in this recipe. You can use purple, orange, whatever you like. The next thing that she talks about is just using 2 cups of flour. She uses gluten-free flour. I used whole grain, but you can use whatever you like. And then the third ingredient is just salt. And then Britta didn't mention this in her blog post, but I decided that I wanted to try doing a fresh tomato sauce on top of the gnocchi. And you're more than welcome to just do butter, salt and pepper, or olive oil. But I'm gonna do some fresh tomato, garlic, onion, and a little bit of basil, and I'm gonna make a fresh Italian style tomato sauce. And on top of that, I will put a bit of Parmigiano Reggiano. If you are totally plant-based and dairy-free, then skip this step or add a plant-based cheese. And then last thing I'm gonna add extra is some chives to chop up and put on top of the gnocchi. All right, onward.
All right, we're back from the grocery, so first things first, let's preheat the oven.
Britta says to preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit before you start anything else, so that is what I'm gonna do. Next, I'm going to take out my cutting board, grab the sweet potato that I've just washed, and then I'm gonna poke a few holes in the sweet potatoes just to let them breathe and exhale some of that steam while they're baking. I'm gonna put them in a pan. You don't need to do oil or tinfoil or anything. They really don't get too messy. Just pop them into that pan and slide them right into the oven. Another reason I decided to make this sauce is just because it takes 40 to 50 minutes for the sweet potatoes even to bake and get soft enough to start the gnocchi, so I decided I definitely wanted to use that time to make some sauce. So I'm starting with a sweet Vidalia onion. I am cutting it in half, peeling it, and then chopping it roughly. While you're doing that, you can preheat your pan with a little bit of olive oil. I think butter would be okay too here if you eat butter, but I really love the flavor of olive oil to make it really authentic. I'm chopping up the other half and I'm putting it in to saute. Now I'm gonna crush up some cloves of garlic. In my humble opinion, more garlic is always better, so I'm doing about 6 cloves here and gonna put that in with the onions after just a couple of minutes. Give it a stir. It should be sweating and steaming quite nicely. Add some cracked black pepper, the secret to anything, and then some flaked sea salt. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so good. All right, after that, I'm gonna chop up the tomatoes. I'm going to first cut it in half and then do some little diagonal cuts on each side to get out the stem. All right. Once I do that, I'm just gonna roughly cut it into cubes here, and it really doesn't need to be pretty or fancy because it's all gonna boil down anyway, right? So I'm gonna cut half, put it into the pan with the onions and garlic, and then when I've cut my other half, I'm going to bring them home so they can be together and enjoy each other's company. All right, we're mixing and mingling these onions, garlic, salt, pepper, and tomato in here, and then the last thing in this beautiful simple sauce is tomato paste. Give that a good stir, let it simmer for just a couple of minutes, and then I'm gonna move it off of the heat, cover it, and then let it rest while we do the gnocchi. I'm going to grab a pot and preheat that water and boil it up so when the gnocchi's ready, we can drop it right in to cook. I actually am using my Berkey water filter here. Are you guys nerds that love Berkey water filters? If you are, just leave me a comment. If not, I would love to make a video and kind of show you. It's a very clean water filter. Anyway, off of that track, I'm gonna get back to the gnocchi. I looked at it and it wasn't hard enough, so I added 10 more minutes. But after 10 minutes, I found that was perfect. It slid all the way to the center. So I took them out and I'm holding it with my pot holder because it's extremely hot. Please don't burn yourself, be careful. But you're gonna wanna hold that, start to peel off all of the skin, and you can kind of take a fork and dig it out, do whatever you find works best. But for me, I was able to kind of peel off of that outer layer and just leave it in there and start squishing it together. I ate a little bit because it was really good. All right, Hulk power activate, smash that sweet potato. You're really gonna wanna smash it all up until it's really fine, like almost rice texture, and then you're gonna start adding that flour in slowly. Remember, it's 2 cups of flour, gluten-free or otherwise. I'm using whole wheat, and you just kind of add that in, sprinkle it in, and then the next thing you're gonna do is add sea salt. Britta recommends 2 teaspoons of salt. I might have gone a little heavier than that. I don't know. I really love salt. I just felt it would be good. So now I'm gonna start smishing it together, and this is the fun part. It gets really doughy and should really remind you of a bread dough or like a thick cookie dough if you're used to making that. You want it to be very dry, like not crumbly dry, but you definitely don't want it to be sticking to your fingers. So I'll kind of show you what I mean here, but you might need to add a little bit more flour until you can really press on it and it's dry like that and doesn't stick. Once you're there, add some flour to your counter, sprinkle it down, and then you're gonna wanna toss and turn it a couple of times and shape it into a big bowl. And by bowl, I mean ball. Once you put it into a ball, you're gonna cut it into different little sections and then start rolling them out. And this is where you're actually gonna cut your gnocchi from. So fun. I think the first time I did them, they were a little bit too big. So watch as I go along. I think they get a little bit better. You're gonna wanna squeeze it, roll it out, and then cut it into about 1-inch sizes. But I think that the smaller ones actually cook better, so you may want to roll a little thinner and cut a little bit smaller. All right, the water should be boiling now, and we are ready to go. I'm dropping them in and quickly realized that it's super hot, so I put it on a spatula and I'm just dropping them in slowly to save the skin on my hands. I highly recommend. There was no way that Austin and I were going to finish all of this tonight, so I froze half of it and I'm putting it away, which I think is also quite a nice life hack, just so we have another dinner ready to go. Once you put the gnocchi into the pot, you're going to add 3 minutes to the timer and let it cook. And while I'm doing that, I figured I'd go ahead and chop up this basil that I bought to put on top, just to be kind of bougie and fancy. It's optional, but I think it's delicious and fun. So you're gonna bunch them all together, cut them in half, and then turn them lengthwise and chop them real fine and tiny. And then next up, I'm gonna grab a little bundle of chives, don't you see? And then I'm going to cut them real fine and tiny, just like the basil. Once the gnocchi rises to the top, add 30 seconds to the timer. In my experience, I actually could have gone a little bit longer, so maybe a minute or a minute and a half if your gnocchi is bigger like mine. Once it's done, go ahead and drain it. And here comes the really fun part. Add some olive oil. If you have butter, that would be good too. Shake it around. I'm gonna add those chives that I chopped up. And here is where you do it differently. If you weren't doing sauce, you could just add salt and pepper here and then serve it as voila. But I have been simmering my sauce and it is all ready to go. So I'm gonna serve this out onto the plate. Oh my goodness, it looks so fancy. And then I'm gonna bring the tomato sauce that I've made, scoop it generously on top, and then I'm gonna add that basil that we chopped just a minute ago. Oh my goodness, doesn't this look good? I'm so excited to try this. Are y'all excited? Guys, please leave a comment if you are so pumped and you're about to make this too. Oh my goodness. Hey guys, okay, so I just got through editing and I realized that the final clip of me tasting it and talking about the recipe and saying thank you, there's a whole lot of fun stuff in there and the audio completely cut out, so I can't use it. So I just wanted to pop in and say it tasted really good, it went well. It took a little bit longer than I thought it would, so with the sauce too, it took probably like 2.5 hours total. So this is definitely kind of like a slower Saturday or Sunday thing if you have a little bit more time, or if you have more time during the week too. But yeah, it was awesome. It tasted really good, and this is something that I will make again, and I'm really happy I froze some so that we can have that again. Austin really liked it too. He was like in bed that night that we had it. He was like, that dinner was really good. So if you want to impress some people in your life, maybe try this out. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. Let me know what you thought. I hope that you really enjoyed it too. I would love to do more videos like this style for you guys, like the how to cook with me kind of vlog style. So let me know if this is something that you're enjoying, and if you'd like to see more or any specific recipes, let me do those for you. I am here to help you guys get healthy, and I want it to be fun, and you're gonna chill with me, and it's gonna be a community, and yeah, we're all gonna get healthy for good together. So follow my channel, like, subscribe, share with a friend. I'm here for you guys be here for me. Let's do this thing. All right, until next week, I will see you then. Bye.